very timely given the release of the new takeover code, and of course with whatever is happening in the market, extremely timely. The whole volume, value-wise, the way M&As are now moving up, only goes to show me that you are going to see a spurt in this business over a period of time. Capital markets will be here, not there, whether the Dow falls by 4% or the Indian market falls 3%. You shouldn't worry too much about, but the one fact is there that there is going to be serious amount of M&A, and if anything, the fall in asset values overseas will be a great opportunity for Indian companies to acquire new technologies, new markets, and new clients. I'm going to be speaking on deal structuring and asset acquisition, acquisition financing, and I was with one of the very large groups yesterday, and I have to give you a small anecdote where the person in charge, who's a senior director and who's done many M&As, he's selling a business, and the moment I spoke to him, he said, look, there are three things which are important to me from a framework perspective. There is a desire, there is a need, and there is a compulsion. So at the moment, I am at a stage where I have a desire of selling my business. I have no need to sell my business, and I have no compulsion to sell my business. So that kind of a framework is a framework which I think all buyers and sellers need to have when they look at any transaction. It is about deciding how much they need an asset, for what reasons they need an asset, and whether actually there is a compulsion. Sometimes because of your growth, because of what you're trying to do, you're trying to kind of short circuit everything, and there will be a compulsion as well. So I'll try and kind of flip through some of this stuff here. So I think the key criteria which are required for deal structuring and key considerations you take into account are regulatory considerations are extremely important in the way you structure the transaction, which could include for listed companies things like ownership norms, the capitalization norms, the competition monopoly issues, etc. And these obviously are important from the target country perspective as well. For example, there is a Hart-Scott-Rodino Act in the US, which makes you take, if you are acquiring a company there above a certain size and meeting a few criteria, you actually need the Hart-Scott-Rodino approval before you can close the transaction. Similarly, there could be tax considerations which are involved in, and I know people, who spoke for me have spoken about some of these things, and some of these things are very obvious, but there are issues pertaining to stamp duty and capital gains which always come into play. Then there are several accounting considerations. How do you tackle the ESOPs in the target company? How do you, have the ability to consolidate your accounts? How do you kind of break up the several assets so that your outgo is minimum? There are financing considerations, which become very important in the context of structuring a deal. There could be cases where your lender or the equity investor also insist on a few structural changes to suit them. So sometimes those changes may need to be done even at last stage to meet those criteria. And the last one is how soon you have to put the deal together. And quite often some of these things may have to be done or not done based on how much is the time available for you to effect a change. Commonly used deal structures, I just want to take you through some of them. The first one obviously is a stock purchase, which is again, as the name suggests, is just a stock acquisition directly. Now it's very simple and quick. The transaction costs are usually low. Given that there is a pricing attached to it, pricing benchmarks are also easy to establish, particularly when it comes to listed companies. The issues also may pertain to, again, tender offer requirements, capital gains. Sometimes the liabilities in the target asset can become a challenge when it comes to stock purchase. And on the right side, we've given some examples of how some of these deals have been done, including the deal which we were involved in a major way, which was Mahindra's acquisition of shares in Satyam Computers, which happened about 2.5 years back. The next slide covers a typical asset purchase mechanism. Again, the benefits, as I mentioned, some of the benefits which I mentioned were there are times when you need to take care of the liabilities, and this could be the best way. Quite often it becomes a case where no tender offer requirements may be there in certain contexts and countries. The issues pertaining to this, like maybe the stamp duty and sales tax kind of consideration which you need to take into mind. Also importantly, if you are doing an asset sale, the cash resides with the company, and you have to quite often the promoters and shareholders have to think of a way of taking that cash out. Schneider's purchase of the catering business of Smart recently was, for example, an asset purchase. Similarly, the very large deal which all of you may have heard of, the Piramal deal, was actually structured as an asset purchase. The next part is the merger. Mergers are done quite frequently, not always between companies of the same size. And I think what becomes important in these cases is that there is a desire, or there may be a lack of financing options for cash deals, in which case mergers may make sense. Similarly, quite often the merger idea may be initiated to take care of stock as a currency, which quite often listed companies have. The merger of Centurion Bank of Punjab with HDFC Bank is just one example. So these are just some examples to run you with the structures. I come to the modes of financing, and I think the key consideration here again is what kind of sources you are targeting, what kind of nature and form is there, and the third part is the cost of the financing itself.